Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Wake and Jake because we are back. The first episode of the regular season. So we are going to do some winners and some losers. 3 to 4 games? Absolutely. Let's change all of our opinions when we know over the course of 162 that doesn't really matter at all. But some of it does. Stats that exist and do not matter. Jimmy nailing the Mike Trout homer on opening day because the most opening day homers are by Mike's. That's what my guy does. Yeah, we'll hop around a little bit. I've got some winners I like. I got some losers I'm worried about. And yeah, you're going to get some UConn Husky stuff mixed in because I, as a sports boy, had one of my favorite games ever. And the full story has a lot of Jake stuff to it. So let's dive right in, people. Congratulations, you made it through the offseason. We are here. If you do have a second, go check out the greatest game of croquet ever played. Something a little different from the JM crew on our Warehouse Games channel. For those of you that are in our know, Zach Esposito, extremely talented editor, went cooked on this. Jimmy's full brain, and a very silly, fun watch if you're looking for something to do. So go check that out. All right. Let's do some winners and losers. Let's start out with winners. Or let's start out with a winner. Let's get off on the right foot.
Start with a winner.
I have an easy one. I think I have 6 of each, which that's just a really weird, it's just a really weird quantity. Maybe we'll put them in buckets, so maybe we can make it 5. Winner of the weekend, ABS. A massive winner. We saw it get rolled out throughout the league. We've heard about it for a few years. We saw it in spring training last year, and we were kind of like, hey, if we're doing this, gimme now. I think what's surprising is there's no argument against it. Because even if you're a road team and you get the call reversed, it's not like there's angry boos or anything like that, because it's just you got the call right. Like, we have an agreed-on thing that currently is the difference between right and wrong, which we've kind of wanted from a strike zone for years, that it's been kind of cool that, you know, there hasn't been an ABS followed by a boo, unless I missed it.
I don't think so.
Because everyone's just like, yeah, it wasn't a strike.
Like, obviously, a small sample. Like, the only time it kind of hurt the Yankees was, like, Saturday night, last inning, Bednar would have been strike 3 on whoever was on Ramos, but it was like, all right, well, that's just what it just would have been a bad call that went my way before.
Yeah, but it's like
I wasn't mad at anyone.
Fans aren't viewing it that way. We're all accepting it for what it is. That when they go check that them's the rules. That the amount of calls that were overturned, the amount of rallies that continued, the amount of strikeouts that turned into walks or vice versa, it almost feels like we've elevated the game. Like, instead of, I don't know how many Talkin' Yanks episodes or how many Talkin' Baseball episodes that we end up talking about the umpires, we are talking about the umpires a little bit, but not nearly as much. Because instead of the Cincinnati Reds and the Boston Red Sox game 1, Roman Anthony gets called strike 3. Would have been the end of the 9th inning, top of the 9th. Reds would have come up. It would have been a 1-run lead. Who knows? 1 run's is much different than the 3 runs they had on the board because their inning continued. Roman Anthony challenged it, and the game went on. Judge challenged his first one, got it right. Hit a homer that at-bat. I don't know if that's the expectation, but it certainly changes things. And if you look at every player's stats, the count leverage and how much it matters to every player, it's universal. The better the count is for you, the better you do. Little analytics coming at you. I mean, it's a fantastic add to the game. It doesn't, like, I guess you could be like, oh, we almost snuck away with one, but it's not like you won. It's not like you won. I mean, there's still pitches out there that are being missed, and it's going to be interesting to see the progress of ABS. Jimmy's ready to go full ABS every pitch. I want to see a little more of it, but it's also, I've found myself sitting here today like, if everyone agrees and we like getting it right,
kind of what's stopping us.
Then what are we doing? So it definitely, reflecting today, it definitely seemed like we're going to look back in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whenever fully automated is kind of a thing, or maybe they update the review system, or who knows. But basically, if we're going to do it this much, like, let's do it. Because we have agreed upon technology, and we might as well have an actual accurate strike zone for the first time in our lives. Instead of looking at old 90s footage and watching Maddox and Livan Hernandez with the massive wide plate. A few years back, they kind of went higher. They tried to get back to the letters, and everyone was throwing four seams at the top of the zone. Everyone agrees, which is kind of crazy and doesn't work in our... Nope. Who's still fighting ABS? There was like one catcher who didn't like it. I think they came around too. I forget who it was.
Like I think Boone still keeps saying like, "Yeah, I wish we didn't, but we're really good at it."
Okay.
Okay,
Great. But yeah, ABS. Like, think about if ABS. Imagine if ABS had a bad weekend. If like there was balls and strikes that we thought the computer wasn't getting right.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been the topic that led every show today. Instead, it's just like, no, we're getting more calls right. Guys might have better seasons. The elite players might have better seasons. And it just feels like the game, okay, as much as it was a fun talking point is loosely used, but a 1-1 pitch. If that pitch is missed, it changes the course of an inning. I mean, the strikeouts into walks, O'Neal Cruz on opening day thought he had a walk, struck out. The Roman Anthony example I used. Like, you're going from doing the worst thing as a hitter or a pitcher, kind of, vice versa. And we're just good with it. Like, there was one or two people doing like, really, that pitch just nicked the zone? That's their best argument. That pitch was barely a strike. Okay. This is what we're looking for. That used to be the whole thing. So I don't know. I think if you had told me 5, 10, however many years ago that it's like, hey, we're doing it. We're going to have an automated strike zone that you can challenge. I don't know. That was mind-boggling. And you'd be like, what's the problem with it? After the opening weekend, I don't see a problem.
No, like when you said like what would a bad, like I don't even know what a bad performance by ABS would have been, like the tech literally not working.
Yeah. Which I think
we got it. We waited long enough to get to the point where like it works.
I think there's been some examples. I don't think we had one this weekend where like it didn't read the pitch at spring training, which that'll be interesting to see if or when that happens in like a big moment.
Like something like that will happen someday.
And then it's just like, okay, so it was normal baseball still. But yeah, a massive weekend for ABS and like baseball going forward. Like I don't know. I was kind of, a home plate ump, they kind of keep the game moving and you can still, like, Jimmy kind of had an argument that he was like, through the course of a game between swings, between balls in the dirt, like the umpire only has to make a call on so many pitches, 30 pitches. And I think the number he had is that they were getting him 80% right, which is good, but you're also still missing 20% of those borderline game-changing potential pitches. I think people in sports like getting it right. You want it to be fair. And we're getting a step a lot closer than we've ever been in baseball, instead of being like, the ump stunk that day, crazy. Like, that's actually not good. That's not what you want. Can you believe he struck out on that pitch? Like, so I don't know. ABS, a big winner from the weekend. I guess my first loser, and I guess this is an easy one to piggyback. Umps. Brutal. CB Buckner just getting shown up, and the crowd loving it. Like, it's kind of a bad look on our society, how much the crowd was loving it. But, I mean, Cincinnati was cheering. They said it was the loudest the building was the whole game. Eugenio Suarez calling out C.B. Buckner and missing strikes. He missed 6 pitches. They all got overturned. It's tough. There's some bets going around the office that are like C.B. Buckner might not make it through the season. If he's like the proud, powerful umpire that we've all seen C.B. Buckner from the fan point of view, I mean, it really depends on who he is at his core that I don't have the answer for you. Like, is he viewing it as I'm glad we're getting more of the game right? Or is he viewing it as I'm getting shown up in front of 40,000 fans and everyone on TV and all of that? That's brutal, man. I mean, this isn't exactly apples and oranges, but a lot of the college basketball coaches that retired, Jay Wright, Jim Larinaga, that they were like, well, I hate the transfer portal. So I don't get to, like, coach a college team anymore. Like, that's C.B. Buckner being like, I don't get to do my job. I get instantly reviewed on every pitch. It's kind of hell. And I think I sent the tweet to Talkin Yanks. I think the top 10 old umpires were getting overturned at a 66% clip, and the top 10 young umpires were getting overturned at like a 39% clip. So being young and having good vision helps trying to call 98-mile-per-hour pitches that move a ton. We've known this. It's getting revealed in live time. It's a tough look. Is that the set? So 69% of the 10 oldest umpires are having their challenges overturned. 39% the 10. I mean, that's a jarring stat.
Yeah.
Like, that is just so significant. So, yeah, kind of the same topic with different wins and losers there. Let me do another loser quick because I think it is, oddly enough, one of the biggest topic in the sports. It's Tony Vitello. We opened up Talking Baseball talking about him accidentally. He's been a topic of the offseason. It's something in sports is very different between professionals and college. Basically, it comes down to how hard you can coach guys. Like when, these college coaches that we glorify, Saban, my guy Danny Hurley, Izzo, if you want to go, a lot of these guys have borderline militaristic standards that they set that you must oblige to, and that's it. Like, it's non-negotiable. Pros don't work that way. They are adult men that have gotten to a level of making themselves money by doing what they do, that in a way they get to do what they do. Different sports and different lanes you have to fall into more than others. Tony Vitello, the fear meter, I don't know if it's a yellow flag. I don't know if you want to do 7.5 out of 10. It's comical we're doing this over 3 games where they played the New York Yankees, who did win 94 games last year, who I know for all the jabs about the run-it-back Yanks, they were a good baseball team last year, especially towards the end of the year, as they did have a big trade deadline. And, the Yanks are good. The Yanks are a good baseball team. The only piece of Tony Vitello, the only piece I'll defend. That sounds a little dramatic. He's a good-looking guy. Looks a lot like Robbie Ray.
Looks nice.
He's 47 years old. And if you put him and Robbie Ray side by side, I couldn't tell you who was older or younger. I think the only part that stinks is after 2 games in baseball, the best baseball team ever is going to lose 2 games in a row. I mean, my God. To have people coming up in his interviews being like, whoa, this definitely isn't college, huh? How you handling the position? And it's like, okay, hey, if Devers and Chapman and Adames hit home runs, would that have made him a better manager? It's not like the Giants it's not like their gameplay, they got out-strategized. They didn't score the first 2 games. They got shut out the first. And it's not like Tony Vitello had hit and runs on every play. No, their offense was nothing. And that has nothing to do with him. At this point of baseball, That has nothing to do with the manager. There weren't controversial lineup decisions. Like, the Giants have their guys pretty set, and they're good players. They didn't have a great opening weekend. I think the Yankees' pitching is pretty good. Sometimes baseball can be tough. Max Fried had a lot of hard-hit balls that got caught. And that's it in baseball sometimes. Cam Schlittler's a freak show. He added Corbin Burns' cutter to his repertoire this offseason. That's good. Last time we saw him was 8 shutout against the Red Sox. Did he have a Blue Jays start? He had to, right?
He had a Blue Jay start. It was whatever his stat line was. It was the best of the Yankees starters.
Vitello getting hit for that. Now, pretty much every interview I've seen this cat in, it's not a great speed. It's not my speed. He's not supposed to be my speed. And that's where I'm almost getting to the point where it's fading the fade a little bit. Like, Buster Posey brought him in because he does have a different kind of personality. He's supposed to be a grinder. He's supposed to kind of rub you the wrong way. Good news is he's doing that. Bad news is they haven't won yet. It's a 3-game set against a good team. The opening weekend of the season. Like, you're in no rhythm. You know, a Wednesday start, off day. The series wrapped on a Saturday. I know it sounds like that stuff doesn't matter. It just does. And it's just to start. You haven't seen real live pitching yet.
Yeah.
And you saw Max Fried, who has the lowest ERA of any starter since 2020. You saw Cam Schlittler, who has an argument for some of the best stuff in baseball. Like, Vitello getting knocked for the Giants not scoring runs the first 2 games, I can't. I will defend him on that front. Every interview seems to get worse. And then the one mid-game interview with Ken Rosenthal where he's like, how is it different? I said this before, but it's Jimmy's best joke of the weekend. They were like, if Vitello was a funny guy, when Ken Rosenthal asked him what's different between the college game and the pros game, if Vitello just said, the bats sound different. Great joke. 11 out of 10 joke, but that's why Jimmy's got that. Vitello doesn't. The thing that was scary, he was like, there's just a lot more managing at this level. There's a lot more people you need to manage. Okay. And then he followed that up with being like, I love coaching guys. And it's like, I asked Trev today on Talking Baseball. I was like, has a manager ever coached you? He's like, no.
Not really.
You have hitting coaches, you have pitching coaches, you have fielding coaches. If you want a coach, you can find it. Base running coaches, Like
I imagine there are specific instances of a manager noticing something specific and stepping in, helping, and doing some coaching. But
sure, and
I'm sure that's happened more than 0 times.
Yeah, and we fantasized over Buck Showalter for a little bit. He joined the Yes Network for a year or two there, and he had great insight. And he had I remember he said that pitchers traditionally overthrow guys because they're used to throwing downhill. And I was like, that's genius. He's like, so I'd always tell my pitchers to aim low. And I was like, that's some of the smartest stuff I've ever heard. I've been watching baseball for 30 years, and I've never heard anything like that. But yes, there's still some coaching in the game. But man, if you came to the San Francisco Giants, who have, $400 or $500 million players, looking to coach, I don't know. It's at a 7.5 out of 10, which I'm hoping is high and wrong. And by June 1st, we can look back and be like, hey, the Giants are 5 games above 500. They're playing pretty solid baseball day in, day out. Right now, it's just on a scary path. And it should come off. But, dude, if they start out slow and they stay slow, I don't know.
We can look up in 2 weeks and this conversation could be
gone.
So silly.
I hope it feels that way. I genuinely do. Because right now, the guy's getting grilled on everything. And, with a lot of these coaches, if you're quirky and good, you're a genius. Belichick, Mike Leach. If you're quirky and you're bad, you're a joke. It's tough.
It's a fine line.
It's tough, man.
And the part you can't control as the manager is what dictates if that's cool or a joke.
So that was Tony Vitello was a loser from the weekend. Let's do a winner. Let's do the good stuff again. You know what? I did it in all caps. It's kind of what inspired the conversation. Prospects. The prospects were studs. Kevin McGonigal coming out with a 4-hit night on opening night and just looking, again, sounds like bad analysis, like a goddamn ball player. Chase DeLauder leads Major League Baseball in home runs. You know, we try to overlook the Cleveland Guardians as much as we can because they can be frustrating as a franchise. DeLauder looked amazing. He got called up for the postseason, of course. So then he had his first regular season action, homers in his first at-bat. 4 homers, leads baseball. They did play 4 games. DeLauder looked amazing. Who else can I throw in this bucket? Nolan Shanuel doesn't really count, but should count. He's still listed age 24. Did you know? I didn't have that.
Came up quick.
He came up very quick. J.J. Weatherholt, couple big games, walk-off hit. Pretty insane. Who else do I have? Justin Crawford had a great first game. Sal Stewart for the Cincinnati Reds, 7 for 10. Hey, how are you? He's 22 years old. Carter Jensen homered for Kansas City. Owen Casey, a star from kind of the World Baseball Classic for Team Canada. He has a walk-off homer last night against the Rockies. He has it's the first weekend, 500 batting average. That's good. Who else? Jordan Walker had a nice weekend, if anyone has kept their Jordan Walker stock going. I mentioned DeLauder. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. Right now I just sorted by age. Man, it is pretty crazy and cool to see some of the guys that pop up that you're just like, whoa. Roman Anthony. Like, okay, currently there's one guy listed 21 years old in the league, Samuel Basayo from the Orioles. He's the youngest in the clubhouse. Of the listed 22-year-olds, I keep saying listed because Baseball Reference does their age,
when
but
their
they could
exact
not
birthday is.
Yeah, it could not be their birthday yet, but this is their age 22 season. Justin Crawford, Junior Caminero, who we're already awfully familiar with, Ballesteros from the Cubs, Roman Anthony, Cole Young, Sal Stewart, and Carter Jensen. And yeah, it's just funny as you go, like, seeing where James Wood is. James Wood's still very young. Very good. Colson Montgomery, Chase Mydroth. How are your White Sox? They had a tough weekend because they played a great team. Like, Ellie De La Cruz is still so young. He's been playing for, 3 years?
Yeah.
He's listed as a 24-year-old.
Came up in 23?
That's nuts. Yeah, it just felt like every game you turned on, you saw a young dude balling out a little bit. And I always try to keep myself in check with this because I do think this is an every sport thing. Like, I think if you listen to an NFL show or an NFL broadcast or NHL, NBA, whatever your sport is, I feel like I've never heard the conversation of, wow, the young talent's awful in this league. It's always exciting. It's always like, dude, this guy might be next. You'll hear it with a draft class, and I currently think that's happening with the NFL a little bit, this year's draft class. But you never hear a league be like, oh, the young talent's horrible. It's always like, dude, these guys are studs. That I think you talk yourself into it. But I don't know. It felt like every game you turned on, there was a young guy going nuts. This is one I could have packaged with the umpires. I'm going to put the losers as olds. I mentioned how the old umps were doing worse. This is a little unfair because a couple olds played decently over this weekend. Chris Sale is still incredible. Andrew McCutchen, Texas Rangers, Andrew McCutchen had himself a nice weekend. Seth Lugo, sure. This is more so for me. As you guys may or may not know, I'm 36 years old now. Kind of crazy. Wearing just a UConn National Champs t-shirt today. If I tightened up the hair, I could look a little younger. Anyways, I just wanted it to be a reminder how tough it is to be old and good at baseball. These are your hitters who played over the weekend. The oldest in the clubhouse, Andrew McCutchen, had a good weekend. 4 for 9. Turned on one from Yohan Duran. Like, okay, Kutch, I see you. Here he is. Was that off Luzardo? 3-run homer?
That one's Luzardo.
McCutchen had a great weekend. No shots fired here. Paul Goldschmidt, the second oldest player, platooning for the Yankees this year. So that's McCutchen's listed 39. Goldie 38. 137-year-old, Travis d'Arnaud. Had a nice weekend, by the way. Didn't know. But from there, we're starting to get into the age 36-year-old players. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Salvi Perez, George Springer, Giancarlo Stanton, Jose Altuve, Freddie Freeman, and Kyle Higashioka. So basically, above age 35 listed, there are 9 players in Major League Baseball. 9 hitters that played opening with. 9! So this kind of goes back to just all the offseason contract stuff, and we saw Bo Bichette get paid a ton of money to play, for 3 years. We saw Kyle Tucker do the same with the Dodgers. This is why teams are horrified to give those contracts. Like, of the guys I just met, McCutchen and Goldschmidt are fighting for platoon playing time. If you need to tap them on the shoulder for 3 weeks, you feel okay about it because they're borderline Hall of Famers. There should be a catcher caveat here with d'Arnaud and Higgy. If you want to keep catching, we'll let you catch. All these other guys are an odd amount of Hall of Fame, borderline Hall of Famers. Freddie Freeman, Altuve, Stanton, Springer. That I don't know. When you start looking at your favorite player's future, or maybe their contract, or you want to sign a guy for 13 years, I think this is the stuff that the front offices are looking at. It makes a ton of sense, and I never wanted to be this guy because you're not going to listen if you're young, and you shouldn't. When you start getting old, 36 and 33 is a big difference. Go check out our warehouse games. 36 and 33 is a big difference. Mike Trout had a good weekend. Him and Aaron Judge listed age 34. So be careful about that. It's just a reminder, and it's why the contracts are there, all that. Okay. I hate the losers. I wish I didn't do any losers. I should have just done winners. But then would you have clicked? I don't know. Let's see. I have easy winner, defending the pennant. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays. One, I always kind of forget how cool it used to be to win the pennant. Like, that used to be as good as winning the World Series. The Giants win the pennant.
In itself be like a thing.
Like, you basically won your league, and everyone was... Like, the World Series almost felt like a bonus back then. It's like, if you win your league, the AL or the NL, that was almost the first goal.
That was winning something.
Like, the World Series was on, okay, who do you guys have? Let's play them, sure. It now feels a little different. But the Dodgers, who swept the Arizona Diamondbacks had a lead in every game. Or did they? It's kind of the bane. Do you really feel like you're in control? I don't have a great bane. A lot of people do. It's enough to know who I'm doing as the impression, but it's just not my... I guess you're supposed to kind of cover your mouth and do it too.
And there.
It's there. It's around it. There's a lot of people that have a Bane impression. I don't have that. That's okay. Diamondbacks had a lead in every game. Dodgers came back in every game. Will Smith homering on Will Smith bobblehead night and his birthday and his kids throughout the first pitch. I mean, you're just up against too much there, Diamondbacks. The whole game, I watched all of game one because we were streaming on opening day. I don't want to say they feel inevitable. I mean, in a way they do, right? But it's just more so the whole game feels like, are they going to beat you? And I know maybe that sounds dumb or weird, but it just feels like they are, and you're just wondering when. You're just wondering, like, what inning is it going to happen? What inning are they going to come up, and two guys are going to get on, and nobody's out, and here it comes. Here comes the 4-run inning. They are silly good. I know the Snakes don't have the most expectations this year, but, like, if you don't have a guy on the mound to start the game, I don't know what you do. And by the way, they're pitching pretty damn good. That they looked fantastic. And the Toronto Blue Jays, who my struggle with the Blue Jays. I am a Yankees fan. I've admitted that. I think the Yankees are good. I liked what the Orioles did this offseason. I think the Red Sox are good. I half like the Rays, although the Rays St. Louis series almost ended up on my losers list. Every time I was watching that, it was just like, what is this? They were playing a different sport. It was fun. There was a lot of runs being scored, but it just felt like a different sport. That for the Blue Jays, it felt like their season had a little bit of magic last year. It's just how I feel. I think a lot of people could agree with that. When you looked at the Toronto Blue Jays and you looked at them coming into this season, I guess I'm trying to look at the past and maybe I'm overthinking it. The Texas Rangers Diamondbacks World Series, when we looked at both those teams and we were like, how did we get here? Can you believe it? The Rangers and the Diamondbacks in the World Series? To me, Toronto currently feels closer to what those teams felt like than what the Dodgers feel like. And again, maybe that's shouldn't really be comparing anyone to the Dodgers for everything I just talked about. Toronto, I might need to open my scope a little bit more. I'll openly admit that. Because they were awesome last year. They were awesome this weekend. They played the Athletics, which, like, let's see who they are this year. But their pitching was awfully impressive. Cease led baseball with 12 strikeouts this weekend. Looked like he was throwing a changeup. He was throwing a changeup, not looked like. He has been kind of missing a pitch that goes that way. Like his fastball and his breaking ball have always been there. That if he has that one more changeup split, something like that, it felt like it could be his next evolution. Well, one, if you want to talk evolution, I know this was going to be lost on Trev a little bit, but I still kind of said it. Dylan Cease, if he was a Pokemon, just evolved. Like, go look what he's looking like. There's hair everywhere. It's an insane mustache. He looks like an iconic 1980s ball player. I mean, that's insane. That looks like a goof. That looks like a We Got Ice sketch. And Dylan Cease, in his debut, is rolling out with this look. Don't get me wrong. It has all the makings of a legend. And if with his arm talent and his ability to post and make every start, if they had something in their Toronto pitching lab that they were like, we can sprinkle this on and get the more consistent Dylan Cease, one of the signings or one of the potential comparisons for the Dylan Cease signing was, for me, it was Zach Wheeler. I'm not saying it's going that way. There's a lot of ways a free agent signing can go. But it's like, okay, so this guy has arm talent. He makes every start. Toronto went out and got him early in free agency to the point we were almost like, should they have done that? Like that whole speech I just gave about being young and old. Like they went out, they gave Dylan Cease kind of what we've considered the traditional big contract that everyone was like, well, are we still doing that? With how he looked a couple nights ago, 12 strikeouts, negative FIP if you're into that thing. And the guy that pitched on opening day before him, Kevin Gossman, also 11 strikeouts. And then the guy who closed the series, Eric Lauer, 9 punch-outs. So, Is Toronto elevating themselves as a franchise that maybe we need to consider them just one of the more respectable orgs, and maybe they're tapping into pitching? And we've talked about their hitting coach, David Popkins, a lot. Or are the A's going to strike out a lot and it's opening weekend? There's probably a little bit of everything in there. I think that smoothie of information all makes sense. But yeah, Toronto, couple walk-offs. Ernie Clement, Andres Jimenez, Springer leadoff homer, Alejandro Kirk home run to tie the game. Like they had a magical opening weekend, and the Dodgers just had a dominant opening weekend. Even if the box score doesn't say that for a couple of the games, it really was. It really was. Quick loser, Wrigley Field. Today's episode is sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip, so why not make the most of it? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there for every detour, destination, and unexpected turn along the way. Great stay isn't just about where you sleep, it's about where the journey is taking you next. And if you stay 3 nights at Best Western, you'll receive a $50 gift card to use for your next stay. Best Western gets it. Traveling is not one size fits all. Whether you're going solo, whether you're with the whole gang, whether it's an adventure, whether you're just looking to unwind a little bit, Best Western helps you achieve your travel goals. So book it, and book it with Best Western. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. I texted Ian Happ a couple minutes ago. Let's see if he replied. Either way, it's a win-win for me. No Ian Happ text. That's fine. That's fine. I'm sure he's busy. Ian Happ turned on a ball, hitting righty, opening day, that he launched. Like, he got all of it. Like one of the oldest baseball expressions. I know we measure everything in exit velo and launch angle nowadays, that, we have a better understanding of getting all of it. Ian Happ got all of it. Turned on it. They showed the projected distance. It would have landed in the street. He would have left Wrigley. The thing doesn't even get close to the warning track. I mean, kind of shocking. I know we talk a lot. If you're a baseball fan, you've heard about the wind at Wrigley since you started following the game. And Ian Happ has even talked about it. He's like, dude, I normally just try to get out of April with a good batting average because there's some days at Wrigley you can't get the ball out. This is the definition of. I mean, when crazy ballparks get brought up, it's usually Yankee Stadium, Fenway. Who else? Anyone? Houston down the line, Coors. Wrigley doesn't get brought up. That was jarring. The good news for Ian Happ, he hits one that way. I think it was the third game of the series, opposite field. It looks like he kind of pokes a double down the line, maybe. It gets out of the park. Wind was blowing out. So again, I think this is why Wrigley doesn't get thrown in the mix, because Wrigley can giveth, Wrigley can taketh. That's why we talk about the wind this way. But I was just kind of, being corny, I was blown away a little bit. So he hit a lefty homer, Oppo. I think it was in the third game.
I think so.
I mean, I'm glad Happer's hitting home runs either way. Breggy with 2 homers in his final game. And the only other, the biggest upset this weekend in baseball was the Nationals taking 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Like I know it's kind of early to look at baseball like that. It's also not. Opening day, teams are out there to win. Your bullpen's healthy. You can't blame stuff like that. Can't really blame the umps anymore. That they kind of got pumped by the Nationals. So I don't think anyone's worried about it. They won that middle game. Cade Horton won well. But I just thought it was kind of funny that Wrigley Field lost a little respect from me. And the Cubs kind of had the worst loss of opening weekend, so that's how they ended up down there. Winners will bounce back. Let me do it now. I have a couple more baseball ones, but you guys are going to have to endure this. The UConn Huskies. Oh, here's Haps. Lefty home. That doesn't look like a home run.
Kind of anytime you get that full helicopter going, your mind jumps to...
Do that one from the start. I know it lands in the net, so it's not... But it's opposite field. And I believe it's right after Bregman homered. So, like, the wind was blowing out. And it's just, I don't know. It's so crazy that that's a thing. And Wrigley doesn't get brought up that way. One of my winners is the UConn Huskies. I grew up in Connecticut. My father attended UConn. If I needed to defend myself that way to some of the college sports supporter snobs out there, part of me gets it. If you're someone that, although I do have a Northeast caveat, the Northeast doesn't have a lot of dominant schools. So, like, if you grew up in the Northeast and you loved Alabama football or Southern California or Texas, I think there should be a little bit of an asterisk. You can't wear it as a badge as much as other fans, in my opinion. But then I'm starting to police it. So who really cares? Either way, growing up in Connecticut, my sports team was the UConn Huskies. And they were dominant in men's, more dominant in women's. And it's just what Connecticut had. And the state loves it. I mean, why does Connecticut have the best college basketball program? There's no reason. Jim Calhoun was an amazing coach. Gino Auriemma is an amazing coach. Now they're off and rolling again with Hurley at the helm. I might as well do the full story. So we had a Sunday morning Talkin Yanks record. First one in history, we think, because we record after the series ends. Most series end Sunday after 4 p.m. at some point. I'm sure there might be a couple loopholes here or there, a rain game. I don't know.
We got the Peacock brunch game with you, and that's 2:30 when
Right.
you're going to record.
So we record, 10 a.m. to noon, something like that. What do I have ahead of me? The Lady Huskies play at 1, dominant. The men Huskies play at 5 p.m., and they are playing against Duke. I do not like Duke. I was kind of raised that way. UConn's first national title was against Duke. Trajan Langdon, the Alaskan assassin, was on that team for Duke. Duke was a massive favorite. The sports talk at the time is, can little UConn even survive the game? They won the game. I remember it just being such a cool moment. Their first national title. And again, kind of Connecticut in a state of shock. Like, what? How the hell did the UConn Huskies win a national title? From there, they just built a program, and they started ripping out national titles every 2-3 years. A little rough stretch. They joined the AAC for a couple years. They were in a brutal conference, and they just couldn't recruit the talent, and their regular season wasn't tough enough that the program was down. I don't like Duke, and just the way a lot of people don't like Duke. It's part of it's they're so successful. Part of it's that they've had these hateable guys. I mean, going back to, I think there's a 30 for 30 titled I Hate Christian Laettner or something like that. Reddick at the time, the amount of hate that guy used to get. Kyle Singler. Jay Williams in college was so damn good, you had to dislike it. And they were just Duke. Like, they have an arrogance to them that they should have because they're a bunch of really good basketball players that are also just smart. Like, it's a really good school. Not only that, two of their best player and one of their best players are literally Carlos Boozer's twin sons. Carlos Boozer had an awesome career, iconic facial hair king, and I think his Cam looks like a stud. Someone compared him to Al Horford, and I kind of see it, that he's just really damn good at basketball. So I've got the Dukies. I got Carlos Boozer's twins on this team. And it's UConn being the lower seed trying to beat Duke. I tell myself, you know what, Jake? When's this opportunity going to... If the Yankees played a normal series and they played a 1 p.m. day game, would have been recording Talkin Yanks. No qualms with that. I enjoy what I do. I said I want to go... There's a UConn bar by me. I said I want to go to the UConn bar. I want to be with UConn fans. Had one of my buddies come with me. Got a good seat at the bar about a half hour before the game time. Couple seltzers, couple beers. Game gets going, and it's a nightmare. UConn was just getting dominated. Duke was getting whatever they wanted on offense. UConn had to fight for everything. All the 50-50 balls seemed like they were going the wrong way. There was a couple at one point, UConn's point guard just dribbled it off his own foot, and you're just like, oh boy, like the tea leaves. This is not what UConn needed to be an arguably better Duke team. I mean, I think seeding wise, it's a 1 and a 2. I think national rankings, they probably would have been 4 and 5, 4 and 6, like pretty close, all things considered. At one point, UConn was 1 for 18 from 3. And so at the half, you start doing fan math. You're like, this is starting to get ugly. Can we even do this? They walked a tightrope perfectly, chipping away just enough to stay alive in the game. And so it's starting to get real, right? Like, you know, once if you've watched college basketball, once it gets within like 10 points, you kind of start believing. Between the 3-point shot and how much time remaining, you kind of start believing. And UConn was playing so much better. So much better. The threes still weren't dropping, but they were playing so much better. At the start of the right before the second half ends, where UConn's just trying to control the bleeding. This is a little jakey stuff. At a UConn bar, everyone in Connecticut gear, there starts to be a standing room section. All the seats are taken at the bar. 2 guys stand behind me, only 2 guys wearing Duke gear. And they're like tight, like they're watching the game. I've got 2 Dukies. If I turn over my right shoulder and I turn over my left shoulder, I've got 2 Duke guys behind me at the UConn bar on my Sunday out. While UConn at that point is getting pumped. I'm like, this stinks. Went to the bathroom at halftime. Bunch of frustrated UConn fans in there are yelling. At one point, I was even like, yeah, dude, I got the only 2 Duke guys standing behind me. I'm trying to cheer UConn. And they're like, yeah, we saw those guys. What the heck? That was kind of it. So, whatever. I'm trying to get out of my own head. I don't want to say I'm a public figure, but, you know, I can't. I'm getting a little angry at these Duke guys. It's not like I can turn and pop one of them. Not that you should. Not
that you would
Not
have.
that that's what I'd be doing anyways. I don't know. I thought about throwing like a little elbow. Be like, I don't know. I didn't do that.
What are you doing here?
So UConn starts chipping away. That they get it down to, I want to say it was 11 points, but they get it down to 10 points where it's like, okay, this is actually kind of becoming a game. One of the Duke guys mutters under his breath. He goes, they're acting like it's a 2-point game. The fire inside me started to roar. It was just so Duke. It was so everything I don't want from Duke. That now I'm like, my focus on the game, I looked like I was coach. I looked like a UConn assistant coach. I was so locked into the game. UConn brings it to within like 5. And I finally, I don't know if one of them bumped into me. I turned and I was like, I kind of did like a handshake and I was just like, I asked them, I was like, can I just ask like what you guys are doing here? You know, like, did you come? Because they weren't there for the start of the game. Like when they walked in, Duke's up like 40-20. So I'm wondering, are they just here to drink tears? Because that's not my kind of cat. So I turned to them and I was like, hey, like, what are you guys even doing here? It's a UConn bar. And they're like, yeah, we came with our buddy who's a UConn fan. And I was like, okay, that's why I asked. And I was kind of talking like a Nikki Cass character. Arms were out, and I was just like, all right. And that's just a note for us as a society. By talking to them, I then humanized them, and I had no beef with them anymore. It was over.
Got the answer.
The game continues. UConn's got some juice, but they don't have to play a perfect game at this point. But they got to play nearly damn close. It hits about 1:30, and they're down 5 still, I believe. And now it's perfect game time. You need bucket, stop, bucket, stop. Like, that's your only route. They miss a free throw. UConn's got momentum, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And then it happens. I mean, what's going to go down as one of the more iconic NCAA tournament plays. Point guard Boozer tries to pass it ahead, gets deflected. Pass. Mullins, projected kind of lottery pick. There was a lot of discussion in the office. Is he going pro? Is he not going pro? He hits, I don't know how far, 35 feet, 40 feet. I'm sure we have the measurement. And it's just a beauty that UConn beating Duke, shooting horrific from three. Horrific from three. We got the replay on the screen there. I mean, if he makes that pass, the game is over and none of this happens. Instead, it's an all-time March memory. I mean, if he just gets fouled, if he makes the 2 free throws, it's game. If he gets fouled and makes one of the free throws, UConn, best they can do is tie it with a miracle shot. It is not what happened. UConn finishes 5 of 23 from 3. I think they made 3 of their last 4, or maybe it's 4 of their last 5. Insane. Caravan drilled one after being 0 for 5 from 3. Demery, who gets their 3-point shots going, that's not really his game, but it was just at that point, if you're open, we need to shoot it. I mean, it was a little bit of sports heaven. I shed a little tear. I couldn't believe it. It was one of my favorite. I texted my buddies, my UConn buddies, before the second half, and I said, I hope I'm about to watch my favorite half of basketball ever, because the first half was not it. And it kind of was. It kind of was. How everything came together perfectly for them to win that game. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I'll have that forever. And it's the beauty of sports. It's just the beauty of sports. I'm laying there after. We're starting baseball season. Jimmy opens Talkin Yank saying it's year 10, and you're like, what, dude? How did that happen? Year 10? Doesn't really seem right. There's a little bit of turkey math to get there, but it kind of is.
The 10th season we've been
2017 was the first Talkin Yanks episode, so it's 2026. But yeah, I think there's some days I'm debating, should I have other hobbies? Should I be like rock climbing on the weekends? I should read more. I'm trying to work on that this year. But I was like, man, I consume a lot of sports. And that game, especially like right before baseball season really gets going for me, it was so beautiful. That I put Duke on the losers list because, yeah, they did. They sure did. Oh, my God. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Okay, couple final baseball ones. Let's see. Prospects defending the pennant. I guess I'll pair these up. These are 2 kind of sillier ones. One silly. Venezuela. Venezuela just keeps on winning. In the final Reds-Red Sox game, there was 2 home runs. Wheeler Abreu and Eugenio Suarez. That game was just Venezuela. Javier Sanoja playing for the Marlins. He contributed. I honestly didn't go around to every Venezuelan. I couldn't believe that Red Sox box score. And it's just something I never would have thought about before the World Baseball Classic, and now I do. I was like, wow. So this game, the only scoring came on 2 home runs. And they're both by Venezuelans. BB, I have one last on-the-fly search for you. Because we did this with Bailey last year when Bailey Freeman, a.k.a. Foolish Baseball. We did our Worst Pitch of the Year award. Bailey did that mind-numbing Nationals-Rockies pitch that is just 100 miles per hour to the right, and we still don't know how to explain it. I think Bailey did a full video on it. I believe it was Eric Lauer just threw a middle changeup that was so bad. It just got rocked. I think Torkelson. The pitch I saw this weekend was the worst pitch. Brady Singer threw a fastball to Trevor Story that he hits a home run on. It is 90 miles per hour, and it is right down the middle. No knock on Singer. No knock on Story. It was just one of those, like, it was so middle. It was kind of comical when I was watching it. But I'll see if Beebs can dig that one up on the fly, because a little unfair to every party involved, including yourself.
The homer?
Trevor Story homer off of Brady Singer. I mean, is that not middle? Give me a zoom on that. 2-0. Trevor Story, I mean, he puts his A swing on it. I don't want to knock him at all. Again, it's a really hard game. But yeah, 90 miles per hour. And there was even a little tail there that got it closer to the middle. But yeah, as of all the pitches I saw hit this weekend, I think that was my 1-1 that maybe we'll keep a rolling tally on that. Trevor Story knew he got it. Good for him. So those were my final winner. How do I phrase this? The runner-up catchers, ? Cal Raleigh has taken over as the best catcher because he hit 60-plus homers last year. Did he hit 60?
60.
That's nuts. I know we've done all of this, but that's nuts. What he did, like, Cal Raleigh was in the conversation of best catcher, and then he just took it. And everyone's good with it, right? Switch hitting catcher, hit 60 home runs. He's also...
Previous catch record was 48.
Amazing defensively. Like, best catcher, case closed. It's Cal Raleigh. Looking around the league, Shea Langoliers, who got shown up by Cal Raleigh last year, he had 3 homers this weekend. And he had a great year last year. Drake Baldwin had a 2-homer weekend, a 1.2 OPS. Will Smith, I mentioned on his bobblehead night, he hits the game-winning homer. He's 1-dotting after the weekend. Francisco Alvarez, he's 24 years old. I could have mentioned him with the young guys. 1.333 OPS. Had a nice year last year, especially after he came back. Went after he came back. These are all catchers that after opening weekend are 1-dotting or have an on-base percentage above 500. Dylan Dingler, sure. Liam Hicks, if you want it. Key Bear just misses. Sorry, Key Bear Ruiz. Who else? There was a bunch of guys walking a lot. Know who had a big weekend? Adley Rushman.
For him.
3 hits, 2 of them doubles, couple walks. We like that for young Adley Rushman. I'm not... William Contreras had a ton of walks this weekend. I feel like there was one other big young catcher I left out. Anyways, the point is, I saw a lot of catchers in the box score. Alejandro Kirk hit a game-tying homer. The rest of his weekend stats aren't that great. I saw a lot of catchers balling out. And I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that the catcher position has been taken by Cal Raleigh. He's not going to lose it over a weekend. Cal Raleigh for this upcoming season is a very interesting discussion because in the most not rude way ever, Cal Raleigh isn't going to do what he did last year. If I'm wrong, I don't know, Seattle. Maybe I owe you a tattoo or something. If Cal Raleigh goes for 60 again, done. I'll do it. I kind of want to get one anyways. But it's okay. If Cal Raleigh isn't going to do what he did last year, what's he going to do this year? I don't know the answer. I'm very excited to see. He broke the catcher home run record by 13 homers last year. For some catchers, that's a good season. Very interested to see where it lands. And interested to see, especially we just got out of tier list season, like, where's Drake Baldwin going to land? Is Shea Langoliers? Like, no one talks about him as potentially the best catcher, but the way he finished last season and the way he started this season, interested to catch. Interested to catch the catchers? Jesus. My last two losers. Athletics pitching. I don't know. We do the whole offseason, and you're like, man, these Athletics, that lineup, maybe they can be a really fun, maybe a good team. Their pitching got rocked. They gave up 2 leads to lose games. I don't know. That pitching, On paper, doesn't feel like it. Maybe Toronto's awesome. Toronto was cracked last year. I already gave you my speech on that. Maybe that was the problem, but Athletics pitching was a loser of the weekend. And Carlos Estevez, who gave up a game-losing grand slam to Dom Smith, which was a really cool story. Cool's the wrong word. Dom Smith's mom just passed away 2 weeks ago. He probably wasn't gonna make the team if Profar didn't get popped. Hits a walk-off grand slam. Pretty cool for him. Estevez was on the bump for it. So we do a lot of, hey, this guy's fastball was up 2 miles per hour. Carlos Estevez fastball down 4 miles per hour. Worried about that. Manager came out, I think it was Quattraro, came out after the game and was like, yeah, we're hoping he gets his velo back soon. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. This happens every year with pitchers, and it's part of the spring training, and, 91 turns to 92 to 93 to 94. But we're out of spring. This lost the Royals a game. Like, the Royals are kind of one of the fringier playoff teams in the AL. How long do you wait for your closer's velo to come back? Because you just lost a game. Tough. Those are my winners and losers of opening weekend.
It's great.
Little instant reaction. Got to sneak my UConn in on you guys. Just loved it. Just absolutely loved it. We are back. We're going to be back Wednesday. I should probably text Bailey. Maybe there's going to be something else juicy out there. Bailey's top 50 players, people like that.
Yeah.
I would just have to text him, so I'll do that right now. You guys subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Baseball's so back. So are we. You guys are the best. Love you.